Ireland, a land of ancient traditions, fierce independence, and a people who've weathered centuries of struggle. But today, this small nation stands at a crossroads. Some say Ireland is under siege not by a foreign nation's army, but by policies that threaten its cultural soul. Mass migration, open border agendas, and laws stifling dissent are reshaping the nation. Is this progress or something darker? Is it a cultural genocide orchestrated by its own leaders?
I'm a first-generation Irish American. Both my parents were born and raised in Dublin, Ireland, and immigrated to the United States in 1960. All of my family live in Ireland. This documentary began developing after the Parnell Street stabbings. I started receiving images of places in Dublin that no longer looked like Dublin, but looked like third world Africa. And I realized that the Irish people were being replaced, and they were being replaced intentionally by their own politicians.
Unvetted migrants arrive here with no passport or documentations from all over the third world, and sometimes from Europe. We are told to allow them entry.
The numbers are stark. More than 150,000 third world economic migrants have poured into Ireland since 2024. This number doesn't include true asylum seekers like Ukrainians. These migrants have few skills and are really arriving because of the promise of lucrative welfare benefits and free housing. They don't assimilate and bring significant amounts of violence and crime. Is this cultural genocide by policy?
Cultural genocide is the intentional destruction of a group, their culture, their religion, their language, and their identity. Cultural genocide often operates under the pretext like progress or multiculturalism or unity. So how do you prove that your politicians are engaging in cultural genocide?
While it's true that the Irish have known a fair share of oppression, the reality is during that oppression we still maintained our invisibility cloak of white privilege.
And we often hear about white privilege, and it hadn't really occurred to me that I had white privilege as well, but now, listening to you, I understand that I do have a privilege.
I think we shouldn't forget that our Parliament still looks very male, very stale and pale.
Of course you can say that. You're a middle-class white man. So you view the law completely different to somebody who is a traveller, to somebody who is uneducated, to somebody who's maybe a member of the Roma community. So it is very, very different. You know that the law doesn't treat you the same. It doesn't treat you the same.
You, as a white privileged man, how does my debt impact your life?
I think it's worth putting on the record of this House that concept of white privilege and how that can be normatised in our own lives. And you know, we as we develop as a society and a more racially integrated society, I think need to become more and more conscious of that within our own politics and the advantage that has brought. But the corollary being that your whiteness is itself an advantage, and to really understand that.
I often observe young people as they walk together. One of their party or two of their party will be from, you know, their background maybe from a different country, and they are, you know, celebrating that and they are engaged in that much more so than the very dull, white, pasty Ireland that I grew up in.
I think what we need to do in our own political system is to call out the hypocrisy of standing in a parliament like this, full of white people, and saying as racism is something that other people do, because it's what politicians here in Ireland do.
Because the Ireland that I grew up in was made for people just like me. It was made for white, middle-class, able-bodied, heterosexual men. It was made for us. We've always run this place. We see ourselves everywhere. And if you walk around the walls of, or the halls of this esteemed building, you generally see people who just look just like me.
There is obviously a fairly obvious deficiency in what we're doing. We're basically a room full of white men talking about racism. So just to name that.
One thing I strongly agree with the Deputy on is the need to set a target to have a number of people from ethnic minorities in areas of the public service. We have a health service that's very diverse, although less so as you go up towards the senior positions, not so much in the Gardaí, not so much in the Defence Forces, not so much in the education sector, as the Deputy mentioned, not at all in the civil service, which is very white, including the Department of Equality, for example, and that actually needs to change.
There's serious work that needs to be done in the context of Irish politics, because even when you look at a male-dominated politics, who are the males dominating that? And the majority are more privileged, are predominantly white. There is very little ethnic visibility across any of that. So measures need to be put in place to start looking at that.
Yeah, the last thing we want to do is replace a bunch of straight white middle-class able-bodied men with a bunch of straight white middle-class able-bodied women. I think we need kind of intersectional approaches, but I know that's not what you were.
Yeah, I take that point. I was just trying to hone in on that one. I mean, it's vast, but it's made up of a number of elements, genders.
The biggest problem you have with Irish politicians today is that they are working against the Irish people. They will get on the Dáil or in the European Union, and they will specifically talk about how white privilege is affecting other people's lives. When you put together a platform that works against your own people, then you are not an elected official anymore, because you're not working for your constituency. You're working for the people who came into the country illegally, and those people are who you're working for. You're putting policies in place that specifically harm the people that elected you to protect them. That is a cultural genocide. The rates of these IPASS centers that we saw that are going up is twice as fast as what the government wants you to believe. So with more than 300 IPASS centers in Ireland and still more being built, you have a system that's in place that has no intention of stopping, but has every intention of hitting the gas and going much faster, to the point where you're very soon going to be the minority Irish instead of the majority people who have elected these individuals into office. You are electing your demise quickly.
The politicians want you to believe that there is no correlation between migrants and crime. On November 23rd, 2023, on Parnell Street in Dublin, an Algerian-born migrant stabbed 4 children. This was in the wake of a steady increase in crime. The stabbings triggered widespread outrage.
Like all police commissioners who refused to take responsibility for their performance. Ireland's top cop blamed and labeled conservatives as far-right hooligans. The politicians first blamed ex-post from UFC fighter Conor McGregor, then blamed Patriot Fergus Power. The truth is, this was a direct result from policymakers.
On Parnell Square on Thursday, I really would ask people to try and avoid connecting crime with migration.
Hi, my name is Aisling Murphy. I'm from Blue Ball in County Offaly, and I'm a member of Ballyboy branch of Cure.
I think the killing and the death of Aisling Murphy was one of those events that really touched the nation. I remember it so well, and I remember the outpouring of grief for that young woman. And I really think to connect that to a debate about international protection and migration is really wrong.
When the government says that there is no link to migrants to violent crime, they know this fact to be wrong. They know that, in fact, things like Aisling Murphy was directly related to migrant violence.
In the wake of all this violence, destructive policies, and incompetent policing, a new national movement arose. Ireland is Full has become a worldwide cause. with Irish Americans paying attention to genocide taking place at the hands of the government. When an iPath center was proposed for Coolock, the people took to the streets. The peaceful protests began to get tense when the police showed up. The violence that the police inflicted upon protesters was severe.
Chaotic scenes here. Pepper spray is being sprayed on women and children. Pepper spray is being sprayed on women and children up here. Pepper spray is being done. Pepper spray is being sprayed on people. Pepper spray is being sprayed.
Yes, scumbags.
You fucking bastard! You fucking bastard! Shake the fucking ass!
You alright?
You fucking bastard!
Let them get the woman out! Let them get the woman out, will you? Will you let them help the woman? Let them help the woman! Let them help! Let them help the woman, will you? Jesus Christ, lads! Come on, lads! You fucking horrible scumbag!
What the fuck? What's the violence for?
I fucking don't need it. Yeah. And he kept giving it to me. Dirty bastards. And he moved them from over there when I was rounding up on them. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful. Dad, you go on back over there. I don't want you getting involved in this. Go on. Forever, I have to be here. I'm only thinking of my grandkids. I know what you're thinking of. I'm thinking of my grandchildren. My grandchildren. Shouldn't be fucking here, but why wouldn't I be here? Exactly.
The streets around Coolock today, the events of last night still fresh in the minds. And as with most things, opinion divided on the issues that have fixed attention onto the place.
While the protest in the Ireland is Full movement grew momentum throughout the country, it became crystal clear that the top three political parties, the police and the media, were going to blame the far right for the lack of harmony in the nation. But the world and America had a different response. The immigration crisis and consequences was a leftist policy. The crime was based on left policies. The hate crime bill was a left policy.
After that little bit of history, Thaw 78, Neil 52, there were no abstentions, so the question is carried, and a message was sent to the Shannon acquainting it accordingly.
The media were employed and paid by the left, and the police answered to the left. Ireland had become a uni-party, and the media were akin to North Korean propaganda machines, churning out whatever race baiting they were directed to carry.
It's a good thing that what happened in America with USAID happened, because all you have to do is follow the money to figure out all the different NGOs that actually profited from this asylum scam. And that's exactly what it is. It's a scam.
You just don't jump on a boat and plane from Africa, Asia, or the Middle East. The answer is that NGOs in Ireland and in America through USAID funded this crisis. But George Soros' Open Society funded NGOs throughout the world, making it cheap and easy for the third world to enter Western Europe and America. But there are homegrown profiteers also, and many have ties to politicians. That's the next segment. Following the money back to Ireland. Ireland is a people that fought for their land from colonial rule, only to allow their own politicians to colonize them again without a fight and without opposition. The Irish need to wake up, take a stand, take their country back. Because soon, the political elites will be telling you to downsize your house for a migrant that didn't earn it, under the guise of relieving the housing crisis. Ireland is full.